Hi everyone, so we just got some really important new findings regarding how enchanting items at the Occultist works. Lately, a few weeks back or something, I made a video talking about that and I showed off that there are certain stats that roll basically all the time whenever you roll at the Occultist. You may have noticed that yourself. For example, on the weapon, you always get a main stat if there's no main stat already. For example, dexterity on a rogue or strength on the barb. Or for example on rings, if there's no crit chance, you always get crit chance every time you roll the Occultist. Now here's a Reddit post from Nebuchadnezzar who developed d4craft.com. He's also the guy who made Path of Exile, in case you know that website, it's very good. And he actually referenced that video and he did a little bit of digging. And it turns out that there are a certain set of priority affixes that always roll, like at least one of those roll on the Occultist every time you enchant an item. So exactly what I just mentioned, rings with the crit, gloves have attack speed and crit, this is also what I also found, and then we have the weapons with the main stat. But there are some more. And the thing is that this can be a massive disadvantage when you're trying to roll a certain stat that is not one of those, because one of the choices will always be one of the priority stats, but it can also be a massive advantage in trying to get exactly a really good item way easier. So you just need to understand the system behind it, and there is this tool to help you. So I will show you an example. Let's go with chest armor, and you can see these priority affixes here. So there are these skull icons. So there's thorns, total armor, and controlled impaired duration reduction. Wonderful stat, especially this one here. So these are the priority stats. And this means that if you try to roll any stats, let's say your chest has close reduction, distant reduction, normal reduction, and now you want to roll the fourth stat into maximum life, for example. Yeah, so whatever it has, you know, let's say cold res is the fourth stat, you roll it, and then you will have an expected amount of attempts of 22 tries. Yeah, and that cost can be quite significant. Let's say like a high item power chest, that's 780, it sells for, let's say, 25k gold or something like that. It actually calculates the expected cost. And you see that to get one single maximum life roll of any value, that will cost you 50 million gold. Yeah, no problem. So the assumption here is that all of the stats have equal weighting to show up, but then you have the priority affixes, and one of those three will always show up when you roll. So one of the two options will be one of them. So there will be thorns, there will be this, or there will be armor. And for example, if you remove the maximum life, and instead of the life you want to roll armor, you'll see it's only 3 tries, because it's a 1 in 3. One of the 3 is always there. And suddenly the cost is virtually nothing, because one of these will always be there in the selection. So this means that generally if you want to get an item that has 3 out of 4 stats, you want the last missing stat to be one of those priority affixes. And well, in most cases, those are actually really good stats. So for example, the rings and the gloves, you get attack speed and crit, and almost every single build wants crit, etc. on the ring, and you want attack speed and crit on the glove. So in those cases, it's actually very, very good. But if you look at the chest, for example, yeah, if you have a chest that already rolled percent armor, you obviously don't want thorns on almost any build. You obviously don't want controlled impaired duration reduction on any build. So if you have armor on your gear already, and then you need to roll something like the damage reduction, it's a lot more difficult. I'll give you another example here. So we have the gloves, and let's say this is a rogue glove, and we have penetrating shot, and we have crit and attack speed already present, and the thing sells for 20,000 or so, and the power is 800. And let's say we want to roll one extra stat, which is lucky hit. Let's go with lucky hit. So we do this, and you see expected 10 tries, 5.8 million. You see here, even though there are a lot of different stats to choose from, it's only 10 tries now, because this time all of the priority affixes are present. There's attack speed, there's crit, both of them are already on the item, hypothetically. And this allows you to get 2 random choices every single time. So it's actually not that crazy to roll something like that on the glove, because of those priority affixes already being there. But let's say you play a barbarian and you play whirlwind, and whirlwind doesn't work with attack speed. So in that case, we don't want attack speed on the glove. Man, let's keep lucky hit here. And let's say we have something like chance to slow, because why not? And well, there's actually a whirlwind missing, so let's just take this one here. And now you see that there's 15 tries required instead of 10 tries. And you see the gold cost is massively higher, because With every single try that you do, there's this exponentially scaling gold cost every time you roll. But similarly, if you tried to roll attack speed, it would be literally one attempt. So if you moved to like a hit here, and then we add the attack speed as a requirement, it would be one single attempt. It will always give you attack speed and one other random stat. Now there is another really important thing here, which is that there are exclusive stats on some slots, especially the Amulet. So we learned that there cannot be amulets that have more than one passive. So you have like these passive ranks here that on a higher item powers roll. So, you know, for example, on the Barb, you have all these different DPS passives here. And you cannot have two of them together on the same item. Now, yesterday I asked my chat to show me any amulet that has two passives that do not exist. People think that the skills are passive sometimes. So that is not the case. You can have multiple skill category ranks, but you cannot have multiple passive ranks on one item. So if one of them is present, you cannot roll another one. Now, good news is all of these are actually priority affixes. So if you're trying to roll at damage passives, then this is actually not too hard. So I'm going to show this. Let's say we have an amulet that has movement speed. It's very nice. And we want, let's say, damage reduction and cooldown reduction. And now we want to roll a passive. So let's say heavy-handed. And it turns out it's 14 attempts. Which is not really too high, but it's still like, 12 plus million gold. So this is quite a lot. But you can get it. Now the thing is that in some cases, the roll of the stat that you got is very important. For example, here you get 1 or 2 ranks. And if you get 1 rank, it's effectively worthless, because if you upgrade it to +5 on the blacksmith, it's still +1. And the 2 will go to 3, which is massively superior. So in that case, you actually have double the amount of attempts. You need to get 28 tries. Well, and suddenly this is like, 100 million gold or something like that. But if you want to reverse this, and let's say you already have your desired passive and you want to roll movement speed, then it gets real bad. So you see here, this is 29 tries just to get any movement speed roll, 87 million gold, or even on the best case scenario with Sorcerer, there's 58 million gold. So of course, some classes have like different amount of stats on certain slots. So this is why it shows you where you want to roll it. But I'm going to go there in a second. And you see here that trying to roll a specific stat that is not one of the priority affixes on an amulet is like nearly impossible, because there is so much filler stuff that no one cares about, right? There's ultimate skill damage, there's slow duration reduction, there's damage after killing an elite. Like all these stats are absolutely trash and just there to make your life harder. I'll show you another example here. Let's say a ring, and we do another rogue ring. Let's say item power 750, 20k gold. Something like that. And we want to have a typical crit vulnerable life ring. So it's kind of like the best in slot for most builds. So we say we have life, and we have crit chance, and we have crit damage, and now we want to roll vulnerable. And you see here again, it's a 1 in 12 or 9 on the barbarian, because barbarian only has physical damage, for example, etc. So it doesn't have all these elements. So that helps here on the ring. But you still see it's 9 million gold to get a single vulnerable roll, or even 5 million gold on the barb. Now, it's not as terrible, but you have to see that there's still a pretty massive range. The maximum range is like plus 50% of the minimum range or so. So getting a good vulnerable roll versus the bad vulnerable roll is still noticeable. And let's say that the vulnerable is present and we want to roll crit. Well, it turns out you get it every single time. So this is like one of those other cases where, similar to the gloves, you want to have an item that already has the 3 desired stats that are not the priority affixes, and then you want to roll the priority one. Now I also want to talk about making alts to roll the right stat on your items. So let's say, for example, this here again where the barbarian has the least amount of tries, and well, the cost is not that significant, but for example, when you go from 30 tries to 25, as we saw earlier with another item, you can save dozens of millions of gold just to get this one stat a bit more easily. Now, the thing is that on a fresh character, you cannot use the Occultist until level 25, but you can unlock the Occultist if you complete a dungeon that gives you a Codex power. Well, luckily, we have a season start in a week, and this means that all the Codex powers will be reset, and this means that you can just make a level 1 character, run straight to any dungeon, complete it, and then you're gonna be like, I don't know, level 3 or something, and you will have your Occultist unlocked. And you can use any item from your stash, take it to the Occultist, and roll it there. So this is really my tip here for the season. Make one of each class, just so that you have these options. And when you check out this website and it tells you you should roll on a barb, but you're actually playing a rogue, well, you can still use your level 5 barb and just roll the item much more easily and save a lot of gold. And that also sums it up here already, so I can just recommend you go check out this website. It's pretty well made. There are a few little bugs here, but I guess they're gonna fix that. For the most part, it works pretty well, and this seems trustworthy in terms of the odds, etc. So definitely well done. And if you want to read more on this post here, I have that link in the description as well, so you can have a look there. That's it. I wish you good luck when the season starts with this new knowledge. Hope you like this, and see you guys next time.